And I know what you're going to say. Jon Jones is retired.
Yep.
But if he never steps into the cage with you and you two never fight, what do you think that does for his legacy, but also for your legacy? Is it possible for you to be the best and be the greatest without beating him?
That's someone else's opinion, to be honest. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm not really thinking about that too much, to be honest.
So that sort of stuff doesn't bother you, as long as you're fighting the people that are put in front of you.
I can only control what I can control. The other stuff is to do with other people.
Tom Aspinall has just clapped back at critics, stating that his legacy goes on and it doesn't matter that Jon Jones is gone now. However, Rico Verhoeven said that Tom Aspinall is a monster both on the feet and on the ground, and he believes Jon Jones has never faced someone as skilled in striking as Tom. He even compared Tom's striking to his own and said that Tom would be a top competitor in kickboxing. Rico confidently claimed that Tom would wipe the floor with Jon Jones and that Jones would not stand a chance against him.
There's one guy who could mimic a Jon Jones on the feet. It's Rico Verhoeven.
He's gonna wipe the floor. He's gonna wipe the floor with Jon Jones.
You believe
Jon Jones 100%. Doesn't have a chance versus Tom Aspinall. Mark my words. Tom Aspinall is a freaking monster.
I love it.
On his feet and on the ground. So, and I truly believe that Jon Jones has never faced somebody that is that good on his feet. On the ground, he's faced some guys that are pretty good. But on his feet, I think Tom is, he would even do good in the kickboxing ring. He would be a top competitor to fight me as well.
Michael Jai White said that while Tom Aspinall is very talented and has the interim championship, when it comes to legacy, Jon Jones's record is more impressive. He pointed out that Alex Pereira is a 2-division champion, which adds more weight to his achievements. Michael added that Tom has faced many new fighters coming and going, but if the conversation is about legacy, Jon Jones still stands strong. He said it would still be a good fight for Tom. However, Tom Aspinall said that his biggest challenge right now is not an opponent in the cage, but the politics outside of it. He confirmed that he has a fight coming up soon, though he could not share any more details. He mentioned that he had already spoken about it in other interviews and kept the rest quiet due to restrictions. When asked about the current state of the heavyweight division, he explained that many top fighters seem reluctant to compete, and while he could not speak for them, he believes the situation involves fear, strategy, and the system itself.
Talking of next fights, one of the big topics of conversation is kind of what's next for you. It almost feels like your biggest opponent at the moment is the politics outside of the cage rather than who you're actually facing. How is it? Where are we at? What's going on?
Well, this is not an exclusive. I said this before on other media outlets. I've got a fight coming up soon, so I can't say anything else other than that, really.
Obviously, you're not going to tell us who, when, or anything like that. I know you're not allowed. But in terms of the heavyweight division, why do you think the top guys are so reluctant to fight at the moment? Do you think it's fear? Do you think it's strategy? Or do you think it's the system just giving them reasons not to?
Probably all three, I would imagine.
He admitted that political issues in the sport were something new to him, only becoming a real factor in the last 10 months of his career. Tom described elite sports as being filled with complications like this and said it is part of the game at the highest level. Despite the difficulties, he expressed optimism about the future and said he truly believes that everything will eventually work out for the best. He ended by saying that fans should look forward to what is coming.
There's a lot of, there are a lot of politics involved, unfortunately. But that is the nature of elite sports. That's what happens. It's not something that I've experienced too much of, to be honest, up until the last kind of 10 months of my life. But I think, I really believe it's going to come good in the end and everything's going to work out for the best. So we look forward to that.
Moreover, Daniel Cormier spoke directly and firmly about Jon Jones's current stance, saying that being a champion means stepping up when the moment calls for it. With someone like Tom Aspinall clearly ready for the challenge, Cormier questioned why Jones seems hesitant. He noted that the Jon Jones fans have always admired was a fighter who never turned down a tough matchup. Reflecting on his own career, Cormier said that if he were still competing, this fight would would have already taken place. For him, facing someone dangerous is the kind of motivation that defines a real competitor, which makes Jones's current lack of interest hard to understand.
John Jones will get to retire from fighting. But if he doesn't fight this guy, then that's just him quitting. There's one real fight for him, and he's not so old and washed up that he can't take it. So that's how I feel about that. We fought them all. I can tell you guys on good authority, if I was still fighting today and I was still the heavyweight champion and Tom Aspinall was the #1 contender, I would have already fought him. 1,000%. The mindset that I carried through my fight career, knowing how dangerous, it would have done nothing but excite me. To see someone standing across the octagon that could potentially beat me or knock my ass out. That would have made me train harder, smarter, and be more prepared than I ever could have been. That's what that would have done to me. What it's doing to John Jones is very disturbing, and it's very hard for me to understand, because in my mind, this guy's a fighter, because I've seen him do it time and time again. I don't know. It's very, very, it's a very weird situation going on with this Jones thing.
Cormier added that this delay is having a wide impact across the MMA world. Even with all of Jones's past accomplishments, Cormier feels that avoiding a unification fight does not reflect the mindset of a true champion. He argued that Jones should be clearing up the title picture, not adding more uncertainty. Beating Aspinall, according to Cormier, would only strengthen Jones's legacy and silence critics once again. Instead, Cormier said what fans are seeing now is a version of Jones that does not match the greatness he once showed.
The right thing is to go fight this kid. And if you beat him, which is a real thing and a real likely scenario, you can then stick it to everybody like you've done on so many different occasions and tell them about it. Nothing feels better to a guy like John Jones to be able to beat the guy that you thought was going to get him, and then him going, what did I say to you? It's sweeter than any title or anything else you can give this man. But he's got to be willing to take that chance to go and fight this dude. Hey, could Tom Aspinall put him out? Absolutely. Tom Aspinall could put him out. He could shut his lights out. Because guess what? You can hit John Jones. He can be hit. But he's tough. And he has a great chin. He can be hit, though. And if he gets hit by that dude, a big guy like that who's fast, Tom could put him out right away. That's a real possibility. But there's also a possibility that Jones takes him deep into a fight that he's never, in a place where he's never been before, where Jones has lived. Jones has lived in those places, and he could drown Tom Aspinall. But we'll never know if this dude don't just fight or quit. Or quit. That's the truth. Not everybody gets to retire.
Moreover, when asked if John Jones never fighting him would affect either of their legacies, Tom Aspinall responded calmly, saying that kind of thing does not really concern him. He explained that he focuses only on what he can control and leaves the rest to others. Whether or not people think he needs to beat Jones to be considered the best is, in his view, a matter of opinion. Aspinall made it clear that he is more focused on the challenges in front of him and not caught up in comparisons or what-ifs.
And I know what you're going to say, John Jones is retired.
Yep.
But if he never steps into the cage with you and you two never fight, what do you think that does for his legacy, but also for your legacy? Is it possible for you to be the best and be the greatest without beating him?
That's someone else's opinion, to be honest. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm not really thinking about that too much, to be honest.
So it doesn't, that sort of stuff doesn't bother you, as long as you're fighting the people that are in front of you.
I can only control what I can control. The other stuff is to do with other people.
Reflecting on his journey, Aspinall was asked what he would say to his 10-year-old self who once dreamed of becoming a champion. He smiled and said he would tell that boy he has done pretty well. However, he added that the journey is far from over. Using a lighthearted phrase, he joked that he is not yet in silk pajamas and that it is not time for any farewell speech. Aspinall emphasized that there is still work to be done and encouraged himself to keep pushing and enjoying the ride.
Well, if you were to talk to that 10-year-old boy who first kind of put his dreams on becoming a champion, what would you say to him now about the whole kind of ride and the whole journey of this?
I'd say I've done pretty good. But like you said before, it's not over yet. We're not in the silk pajamas yet, or whatever the phrase is.
It's not the big goodbye speech.
Yeah, we're not giving it. There's more work to do, so keep at it and keep enjoying it.
However, Rashad Evans took a more neutral position. He acknowledged Jones's legendary career and the pressure that comes with protecting such a legacy. Evans does not believe Jones is scared of Aspinall, but rather that he is being thoughtful about what fights still matter to him. After so many years at the top, each move for Jones is now tied to his legacy and personal goals. Evans believes this decision is about more than just facing a tough opponent. It is about understanding what still motivates a fighter who has already done it all.
All right, last thing. Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall, who you got?
I got Jon Jones. I think Tom Aspinall is a man, but I feel like, Jon Jones is just another level. He can do it in so many different ways with his striking, with his grappling, and I feel like, being in a situation, coming in a fight where he's kind of being pushed into this point, I feel.
Tom's a big boy.
Yeah, but I feel like with John's a big boy too, and Jon knows how to fight like a big boy.
Right.
One thing I feel like what Tom does really well is he moves so well, and I feel like that may give Jon a little bit of trouble, but I feel like Jon is smart enough to figure it out.
Michael Bisping had a more hopeful view of the situation. He believes that the UFC may be keeping the announcement quiet on purpose, working behind the scenes on a major promotional push. In his opinion, the silence could be part of a bigger plan involving press tours and surprise reveals that would make the fight feel like a grand event. Bisping thinks the buildup could be worth the wait if it results in a historic and well-marketed showdown.
Now, of course, this is one of the most highly anticipated fights in all of UFC history. And you can't just announce it, oh, the fight's going to happen. No.
That's stupid.
Fights of this magnitude, the UFC want to do a proper job. They want to announce it in a spectacular fashion. They want to have a press conference. They want the world's media there. They don't want someone on YouTube or whatever or on the phone just going, yeah, the fight's happening, right? Even when I was fighting my fights, I wasn't allowed to announce them. They wanted to announce them, as I say, in the proper way to make sure that all the world's media is there and it gets all the coverage that it deserves. This is the kind of fight that, of course, deserves that kind of attention. This is a fight the world are crying out for.
Chael Sonnen revealed that Jon Jones had requested $12 million to fight Tom Aspinall, and the UFC agreed, making it the biggest payday in UFC history. This amount surpasses what legends like Brock Lesnar, Georges St. Pierre, and Ronda Rousey earned at their peak. Despite securing this deal, Jones still has not made a decisive move. Sonnen suggested that Jones might not be avoiding the fight, but is instead waiting for the right moment or trying to gain more leverage in negotiations. He painted a picture of a fighter who is calculating rather than reluctant.
Allegedly, the number that Jon wanted, and I believe that to be $12 million. I got my own sources. I don't believe that Jon's turned it down. Even though Ariel's confirmed it, even though that's believed in our industry, I do not believe that Jon Jones got a phone call matching Jon Jones's demands and he said no. And I do not believe that Jon Jones would play that game of chicken. Moreover, I don't believe that if he did, we wouldn't have heard about it. If they believe it, if it's to the point that they're ready to move on, it's to the point when they're done trying is when they go book a different fight for Tom.
Robert Whittaker, however, voiced frustration with the delays. At first, he supported Jon Jones's right to take time for recovery and careful planning, but now he feels the situation has dragged on too long. The excitement around the potential fight has turned into disappointment. Whittaker is especially concerned about Tom Aspinall being left in limbo, unable to move forward. For him, a true champion should be active and defending the title, and he questioned whether Jones should still be holding on to the belt if he is not going to use it.
Honestly, who cares now?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Like, I'm done. I'm done with waiting. It's like, yeah, it's like Elder Scrolls 6, dude. It's just like, you know what I mean? Just, you gotta have to play something else, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I'm done. And honestly, everyone nagging him and poking at him and trying to get clips and stuff is worse for me. Like, they're like, yeah, it's way worse for me. It's just, I'm done with that too. I'm just done. I think.
I get it.
I don't know how Jones still holds the title. honestly. Like, I know I mentioned when we first started speaking about this many moons ago, how I was like, no one's stripping Jones. You can't do that to him. But mate, come on, you're taking the piss now. you're taking the piss now, brother. I was like, but let just. I know. How long's it been since Tom's fought last?
Man, almost a year. Almost a year. It's actually insane.
Fighting.
Frank Mir offered a balanced view, praising Tom Aspinall as a gifted heavyweight with great potential. He acknowledged Aspinall's speed and striking as serious weapons, but also defended John Jones against accusations of ducking the fight. Mir argued that Jones has spent years taking on the toughest opponents and has earned the right to be selective at this stage of his career. He pointed to Jones's long-standing dominance in the sport as proof of his credibility. While he admitted that Aspinall is dangerous, Mir said that if Jones can turn the fight into a close-range physical battle, he would still lean toward Jones coming out on top.
I think Aspinall's a phenomenal heavyweight. I think he's going to be there for a while. With John, it's hard for me to tell people. The guy has earned so much. I feel like sometimes people have short memory in our sport. The guy has been one of the most dominant fighters of all time. If he wants to pick and choose who he fights, at a certain point, he kind of earned the right to. But he faces criticism, I guess, from other people. But as far as what settles in my stomach, well, I get it. Because look how people are short memory with him right now. Oh, he's not the GOAT and he's dodging Tom. Like, man, this guy fought everybody. I don't count him out in a fight with Aspinall. I've trained with John. I know how he feels when he grabs a hold of you. I think Tom's hands could really be the X factor if we can catch him or not. Tom's striking is more powerful than a lot of the people and speed-wise in John's face. If John grabs him, though, I'm betting on John.
Rampage Jackson expressed deep respect for John Jones, saying he does not believe anyone can truly beat him. Looking back on their own fight, Rampage recalled being in excellent condition, but still unable to find a way past Jones's skill and strategy. While he acknowledged that Tom Aspinall is a serious and talented contender, Rampage does not see him as a real threat to Jones. He shared that he had heard Jones might be spending 6 months studying Aspinall's style in preparation for a future fight. Rampage praised Jones's fight IQ, calling him the Neo of MMA because of his unique ability to read opponents and take full control of a fight's pace and outcome.
You fought John Jones back in the day. People are
why you only bringing up my losses?
People are all talking about John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. How do you see that fight going? You got Tom or you got John?
Man, I don't think there's nobody on this planet that can beat John Jones because I was in there with him. I was at my best, and I've never lost a fight at my best until John Jones. And no disrespect to Tom Aspinall, but he a good fighter. You know what I'm saying? I think he's probably second best out there, but I don't see him.
You think John Jones finishes him?
I think John Jones is just a real smart fighter. I heard something like he want to take 6 months before he fight Aspinall. I think it's because he want to study him. He want to break him down. Right. John Jones ain't no fool. He's probably one of the smartest fighters out there. I say he like Neo. He's Neo of MMA.
Colby Covington openly criticized John Jones, accusing him of avoiding real challenges like Tom Aspinall. He claimed that Jones has a history of carefully picking opponents who give him the upper hand, instead of taking on the most dangerous fighters available. Covington pointed to Jones allegedly avoiding a fight with Francis Ngannou for years, and now doing the same with Aspinall. He argued that choosing to face an older Stipe Miocic instead of the younger, faster Aspinall shows a lack of courage. Covington did not hold back, calling Jones a coward and a cheat, and saying this pattern proves he is not willing to face the toughest threats.
Dude, John Jones is an absolute disgrace to this earth. He's a joke. I mean, yeah, you beat Stipe. Respect to Stipe first off, because he's a first responder and he puts his life on the line for the people and for his community. So shout out to Stipe. He's the greatest heavyweight of all time, but he was past his time. He shouldn't even have been there, man. He knows he was old and he was just showing up for a paycheck. That's not the Stipe of old. That was in his prime anymore. So I don't think anything special with that performance. I think John needs to stop ducking Tom Aspinall, just like he ducked Ngannou. He ducked Ngannou for years. Now he's ducking Aspinall. So he doesn't want to fight the guys he knows he's getting his whooped against. So I don't think anything special to John Jones.
Francis Ngannou shared a different viewpoint, saying that although John Jones insists he does not need to fight Tom Aspinall, it is actually Aspinall who needs the fight more. Francis Ngannou explained that beating someone like Jones would be a major milestone in Aspinall's career, while Jones has little to gain in return. He also said that Aspinall would be a tougher opponent than Alex Pereira, mainly because of his strong wrestling and greater skill on the ground. For Ngannou, the matchup makes more sense for Aspinall's rise than for Jones's legacy.
He keeps saying he doesn't want Aspinall.
Aspinall need that fight. I don't need it. When you look at it, pretty much true. There's nothing that he's going to make winning that fight if it's not money. But for Aspinall, that will be everything.
Would you rather see him face Aspinall or would you rather see him face Pereira?
Aspinall will be a more challenging fight because Aspinall respond to a ground game better than Pereira. Aspinall will respond better in the wrestling than Pereira. He can do whatever he wants.
Joe Rogan praised John Jones for his long-lasting dominance in MMA, noting how he managed to defeat top-level opponents like Daniel Cormier. He explained that Jones's success goes beyond his physical gifts, pointing to his sharp mind and strategic approach inside the cage. Rogan said Jones knows how to minimize damage while breaking down his opponents, showing a level of intelligence that separates him from most fighters.
John dominates everybody. He took down Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier is an Olympic wrestler. I mean, he's a phenomenal wrestler. And John took him down, and took him down multiple times. It's a different dude, man.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about, like with genetics, right? There's some guys, they're just blessed. And then with John, it's blessed and his mind. It's not just, it's his personality, his like ruthless competitiveness. It's like, he's not going to lose. He's going to find a way to get you. And he's going to do it clever. He's not trying to take a bunch of punishment and to stand and bang. He's not going to point the center of the octagon. Let's go right here. We'll stand right here. Never going to happen with John Jones. You're not getting none of that, son. You're getting knees to the gut. You're getting your knees kicked. You're getting just laced up with elbows where your head's bleeding. He's going to slowly dismantle you and find a way to submit you or punish you, beat you to death on the ground.
At the same time, Rogan recognized the serious challenge that Tom Aspinall brings. He called Aspinall a freak in the heavyweight division because of his rare combination of speed and size. Unlike other heavyweights such as Francis Ngannou, Rogan said Aspinall moves with the quickness of a much smaller man. That level of agility, along with his power and ground skills, makes him a unique and dangerous threat to Jones.
But can he do that with a guy like Aspinall, who's a legit 255-pound natural who moves like he's 80 pounds lighter? He's a freak, man.
Yeah.
Aspinall's a freak. Like, I've seen a lot of heavyweight, even Francis, who's like the greatest, scariest power striker I've ever seen in the heavyweight division. No one's scarier than Francis. Francis does not move like Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is significantly faster than every other heavyweight. That's a real problem.
So what are your thoughts on this? Share your thoughts in the comments section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.